Gym owners, if you want a successful gym, well, you're gonna have to get pretty good at sales. And in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 of what I think are the most underappreciated pro tips to improve your sales results. My name is Mark Fisher from businessofunicorns.com, and I want to share, I did not take sales very seriously in the first few years of my career. I'll admit to you, I'll be honest, Mark Fisher Fitness was like a bat out of hell. We were shot out of a cannon, or pick the metaphor of your choice. But here's the thing I want you to appreciate is many gyms in the beginning can do pretty well just based on referral, word of mouth, without really having much of a sales process. That can happen. If you're just so good at the delivery, you can have a fair amount of growth just by being great at your job. And this is awesome. And in fact, you kind of want some of this to happen. If you're not able to get any organic growth, well, it suggests the issue is not your sales, your marketing. The issue is like your product might just not be that good. Now, if this whole topic is new for you and you want more insight into the actual sales process and what I suggest there and what high-performing gym owners do, go ahead, check out my video in the link below, 4 pillars of non-cheesy gym sales. That'll give you a good framework for creating a structure for the types of conversations you're gonna have that help your prospects get clear on what it is they want and exactly how your gym can help them get there, and then make them a very specific offer to move them forward to take some action towards their dreams. But that's not enough. Once you know what the system is, we need to find ways to help you get good at the system. So the first of my 3 tips is to role play. We have got to role play sales. If you look at the most successful fitness franchises, it's no secret they all are gonna have a super dialed in system for not only how the sales are supposed to go theoretically, but also how we role play them, how we practice them over time. Now, if you happen to be in a larger gym, which I know is a little more uncommon, but a place like, let's say, Mark Fisher Fitness, where you have 2 full-time individuals that work in sales, they can do role play with each other basically every day, and that is our standard. Believe it or not, 5 days per week, they're doing drills. They're drilling very specific parts of the sales process. But the key thing is you've got to get your reps in, and there are 2 specific ways I think to think about this. Number 1 is if you are new to this and you're just launching a new sales script, because that happens a lot of times when people join the Unicorn Society, they realize, oh my goodness, I don't have any sales script. And then we teach them, and that's great, but you don't want to practice on actual prospects while you fumble around and figure out how to get good at this. So you're going to have to role play. As a rule of thumb, I recommend doing at least 10, and that's a lot, 10 full out role plays, either with a staff member, with your coach at the Unicorn Society, so that you have a chance to get good at saying this. Because a lot of doing this successfully is the script, the words used, you just have to get comfortable saying them, and that requires practice, my friends. You know this as a person that does training. You gotta get those reps in. In addition to getting 10 practice role play sessions in before you start doing it on people that might want to give you money to work with you and have their lives change with your fitness, we also need to do it on an ongoing basis. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. If you have a more volume-based model, if you're doing a class-based model, and let's say you're doing, in some cases, 50 leads per month coming in. So in addition to doing a lot of time spent following up, you are maybe doing several sales conversations every single week. Well, if you're doing, let's say, 5 per week, you might be okay without strictly necessitating ongoing role play. Having said that, I think you're only gonna be really great at this if you're continuing to practice all the time, right? But the reality is you're gonna have slow periods, and that's okay. The key thing is you've gotta have systems in place where you, or if you have a team that is doing this, are role playing to keep those skills fresh and ideally to continue to keep getting better over time. Your second tip is related to the role play, in the sense this is another way for you to sharpen the saw, and that is record some sales conversation on some regular frequency. So as an example, at Mark Fisher Fitness, we have a standard, we record at least 1 sales conversation every month, and then those recordings are listened to by myself and the sales team to give feedback, to compare where the individual's doing well, to compare are there places where perhaps they've veered from our accepted script. Now, I'll say very briefly, it is important if you're gonna do recording of some kind There are some legal things to be aware of here, and it's important, I think, to get consent. If you're doing an in-person one, you want to record on your phone. I think you'll find a lot of the individuals that you're having this conversation with will be open to that, but do make sure they know that, because in many states, it is highly illegal to do an audio recording if they don't know. And finally, your third tip to improve your sales results is not actually about sharpening the saw. It has to do with logistics, and that is, oh my goodness, this one's gonna feel obvious when I say it. Have sufficient availability of sales conversations in times where people actually want to do the sales conversations. If the only time you have availability to do a sales conversation is 10:30 a.m. on a Friday, because that's all that works for your schedule, we got trouble. I'm not suggesting you should run your life and your business such that you're available at all times. You're gonna have conflict sometimes. In most situations, many training gym owners spend some time on the floor. It's not uncommon for that to be in prime time. What I am saying is when someone is hot to trot and you've got a lead, you want to get them in there ideally as fast as possible. If you can get them in there that day, that's what we're looking for. If not, at least within the next 2 to 3 days. You don't want to be scheduling them for 2 weeks down the line. Remember, the sooner you get them in there, the sooner you can help them get clear on what they want and inspire them to take some action to move towards your goals. This is important for the business because the faster we get that revenue, the better, obviously, but it's also important for them. Remember, motivation, inspiration is perishable. So when you're offering sales conversations either by a automated calendar link, which I recommend you can do, as well as trying to get them on the phone or via text message, offer them an A/B choice, such as, would you like to meet tonight at Monday at 6:30 or tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. or whatever it is that you want to offer. You want to get them in there fast, and that's only going to happen if you make sure there's sufficient availability between yourself, or if you have other people doing it, your sales team, to get them on in there and get them to sign up, get them doing fitness stuff. All right, pals, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Mark Fisher from businessforunicorns.com. If you like content like this, it would mean so much to me if you smash that big red subscribe button, because then it'll be easy for me to notify you and let you know when it's time for another video with more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and yes, philosophy.